In 1973, Nathaniel Wyeth, an engineer at DuPont, invented the PET plastic bottle as a durable and innovative alternative to glass. Since then, the production of these bottles, made from polyethylene terephthalate (PET) plastic, has soared to over 500 billion bottles annually, driven by major beverage companies such as Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and Nestle. Unfortunately, it is widely known that the majority of these PET bottles are never recycled. Many end up on beaches or in waterways, where they break down into small plastic fragments that harm marine life. However, the problem goes beyond littered beaches. A recent report published by the nonprofit organization Defend Our Health and Bloomberg Philanthropies' Beyond Petrochemicals campaign reveals that PET plastic bottles pose hazardous chemical pollution risks at every stage of their life cycle. Mike Beliveau, the executive director of Defend Our Health, emphasizes that plastics have a significant negative impact on public health. He calls for the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to impose stricter limits on toxic chemicals and urges beverage companies like Coca-Cola, which has been named the top plastic polluter for 5 consecutive years by the Break Free from Plastic Coalition, to replace at least half of their plastic bottles with reusable and refillable containers by 2030. Beliveau emphasizes the need for beverage companies to take responsibility and be held accountable for the environmental impacts of their plastic products. The report highlights that PET bottles release cancer-causing pollutants and heavy metals into the environment, starting from the end of their life cycle when they become litter. Despite industry claims that PET is 100% recyclable, the reality is that 70% of bottles are never collected for recycling. Instead, they end up in landfills or are incinerated, leading to air pollution that disproportionately affects marginalized communities. Of the remaining 30%, only 1/3 are actually recycled into new bottles, while the rest are wasted during the recycling process or downcycled into lower quality plastic items like carpets. Experts predict that global plastic waste generation will triple by 2060, and the existing recycling infrastructure is unlikely to keep up. Moreover, recent research suggests that the recycling process may inadvertently introduce toxic chemicals into recycled products, posing risks to consumers. Chemical pollution also occurs when PET bottles are in use on store shelves. Independent tests indicate that nearly all plastic bottles leach chemicals into the beverages they contain. These chemicals include antimony, derived from antimony trioxide, a cancer-causing catalyst used in PET production. A 2022 analysis by Defend Our Health found antimony in products such as Diet Coke, Honest Tea, Dasani, and other Coca-Cola beverages at concentrations exceeding California's safe drinking water standard. Coca-Cola, in response to inquiries, stated that all its products are safe and approved by regulators. However, the report delves further into the PET bottle supply chain, focusing on feedstocks, which are the chemical components of PET. The production of monoethylene glycol, a major ingredient of PET, results in the release of significant amounts of ethylene oxide, a carcinogen, and is the primary source of pollution from 14-dioxane. The process of processing and refining oil and gas to produce other plastic feedstocks also emits harmful substances such as volatile organic compounds and aromatic hydrocarbons. Furthermore, the extraction of oil and gas itself releases over 1,000 chemicals, some of which may have unrecognized health impacts. Rupa Krithivasan, the director of research at Defend Our Health, highlights that many of these chemicals are being used without a full understanding of their implications for human health. The burden of chemical pollution disproportionately affects marginalized communities, including low-income and communities of color, who reside near fossil fuel extraction sites, PET production plants, and waste incinerators. Defend Our Health reveals that people of color make up nearly 2/3 of those facing a serious cancer risk within 6 miles of ethylene oxide emissions from a petrochemical plant. Yvette Arellano, executive director of the Houston-based environmental justice organization Fenceline Watch, expresses concern about the impact on communities, particularly those in the southern states where oil interests hold significant influence. She highlights the health issues faced by individuals in these communities, including infertility, developmental issues, and neurological and immune problems. Beliveau acknowledges the EPA's identification of these disparities but criticizes its lack of action to address them. He believes that the agency should regulate plastic-related chemicals more rigorously, including establishing federal limits for substances like 14-dioxane in drinking water, implementing stricter standards for ethylene oxide pollution, and setting robust pollution standards for other plastic-related chemicals. Companies could also contribute by voluntarily replacing hazardous chemical additives with safer alternatives. Bellevue advocates for a reduction in the production of plastic bottles. While some states like California are starting to require the elimination of certain single-use plastics in favor of reusable systems, such as soda fountains and bottle refill stations, environmental groups emphasize the need for the private sector to take more significant action. Defend Our Health aims for soda makers like Coca-Cola to sell at least 50% of their beverages in reusable or refillable packaging by 2030, which is a more ambitious target than Coca-Cola's current goal. Oceana, a nonprofit organization not involved in the Defend Our Health report, emphasizes the importance of Coca-Cola fulfilling and surpassing its existing reuse targets. The report highlights that Coca-Cola's commitment to reuse appears to be declining, with refillable packaging accounting for only 14% of its products in 2022, down from 16% the previous year. Oceana estimates that this decrease resulted in the generation of 5.8 billion additional single-use bottles over the past 2 years. If you enjoy videos like these, please like and subscribe for more.